in the northern part of Florida here. So we're going to try and make this tour pretty quick in the big garden area. And we're going to kind of go through a little bit of what we have in the greenhouse as well. So let's go ahead and get started before this rain comes down. Alright, now first things first, before I go ahead and flip you guys around to show you guys our little new seedlings that we have out here in our greenhouse, don't forget to hit that like button, show your guys' support down below, and if you aren't subscribed yet, go ahead and click that subscribe button as well. If you are subscribed, you are amazing, and we love you guys, and we enjoy having you guys here every time we go to get some new content created out here. But we're going to go ahead and get started, and let's jump into it. Alright, so here we have our seedlings. Yes, I know it is a lot, guys. They're looking great. Some of our seedlings we have already transplanted out as they were starting to get too big for the solo cups. So as you guys can see here, there is a lot of different plants here. Now, this first row here, we have our table queen acorn squash. It's a black acorn squash. And we showed pictures of what the acorn squash will look like once it's fully grown. And you can check that out on our previous videos, and I'll leave a description of it down below in the comments. But right here we do also have our watermelon, moon, and star. We also do have here in this section here our garden sweet cucumbers. And then in this section we have our, I want to say it is our sugar baby watermelons. And then over here in this section we have a lot of our giant tomato plants going. Now over here in this other tray we have here, this is going to be our delicious 51 cantaloupe, all this row right here. And then this middle row is a mixture of our tomato plants, our sugar babies. And then this one right here, as you guys can see, there's 3 of them here. One of these germinated while we were out of town. And this one right here is a baby romaine. Apparently there is a baby romaine seed left in the soil. So that is currently why we have baby romaine growing with this variety here. Now here is another tomato plant, and then here we have our mammoth sunflower. Now in the back here is some more of our garden sweet cucumbers that'll be going along our trellis. Now I'm not going to spend too much time on the seedlings because we'll do a whole full detail of our seedlings updates and things like that upcoming. But we're going to continue on with our tour. I'm going to show you guys really quick something here. So here is besides our red acre cabbage that is looking just beautiful, isn't it, guys? This right here is going to be the trellis for the cantaloupe that I was telling you about. We did go ahead and get everything caulked. I had to bring it into the greenhouse as we are getting ready to have some serious rain. So once everything dries, we'll do a whole video on the caulk that we used and what we're going to be using to tie all this together with. And we'll do a whole nother video on that. Now we're going to go ahead and move out of the greenhouse so that way we can, I know guys, I'm rushing through this, but you guys got to bear with me because we are getting ready to have some rain. And I want to get this done so that way I can upload it and y'all can see the full garden. Now back here, as you guys do see our water container, it does show use as we had to make some modifications to the hose that runs down the side. Now the wire you see here is old rusted wire that we have in throughout our yard and that, but it is doing the justice. The extreme outdoor tape didn't do it like we thought it would. Thankfully we do need to raise up some of these hoses so that way the water is not just sitting in there and it'll actually flow down to the rain catcher here. So now we're going to go ahead and move on. This is some more marigolds, and that is a bell pepper my mom planted there. Now as you guys can see, we have rows of potted marigolds. That's going to be going for our stand that we're going to be having May 5th and May 6th, and we can't wait to see everybody there and see our community and talk with our community. Now upcoming here is our big garden area. In our big garden area, we are expanding. We are going to bring the garden out to right about here. Just with as much as we're producing out and getting ready to go out, we definitely are starting to need to get a little bit bigger garden. Now, I haven't been out here yet, but as you guys can see, we have something seriously digging in the garden. So what we're going to need to do, and this will probably be for a later date, they're not hurting the plants really. They could be damaging some roots, but it's okay because the roots have plenty of room to grow. But they're not really hurting anything. Since we've caged up our bell pepper plants, they're not able to really get to the peppers. More than likely what they were trying to do here is get underneath this cage, and they weren't able to do so, which is a good thing. Alright, so as you guys can see here, this is our garden sweet cucumbers as they are getting ready to be trellising up to this table here. Now, some of them did need a little assistance where I had to tie a string up and kind of train it on where it needs to grow. But so far they are liking their spot, as we did prep this area ahead of time before they were ready to go out. So they should be good and happy with their soil. Now, over here, I'm just going to quickly show you guys. Here it is. This one. We have a great bell pepper growing. So they are definitely producing. Now, as you guys can see here, the bell peppers, they first start out like flowers, and then they'll kind of dangle down into their bell pepper form like this one here. Now, with some of our other ones, like this one, who were poorly attacked, my poor things, they are currently growing some more leaves back, and they are showing to be producing as well. So we're going to get a cage made up for them. Now, as you guys can see, before that one got big, they all started out like this, and then they start drooping down, and then they'll start pushing those bell peppers to be a lot bigger. Now, we have a few out here, and we do plan on germinating some more seeds, just for the mere fact that we want more. So one thing I do want to go ahead and mention, yesterday I went ahead and fed my tomato plants banana water. Now, I'm going to quickly describe to you what exactly banana water is. So I know I said I'm going to try and make this as quick as possible because we're getting ready to have some rain. But banana water is pretty much just banana peels soaking in water. I soak them for a day or two, and then I remove the banana out to add new ones. Now, I just use like a creamer container that you use for coffee and things like that. And then I bring it out here and I pour it down onto my banana plant. I mean, not my banana plant roots, my tomato plant roots. They seem to have loved it so far. They're showing great signs after I gave them that banana water. So, and banana water is considered a type of fertilizer. Now, after the first few days, I put the banana water, after I soaked the bananas in the water and things like that for the first 2 days and that, I went ahead and just buried the bananas into our garden. So that way it helps fertilize that garden area. So I put the bananas up here towards in between the banana plants. So that way the the tomato plants can all get off of that banana peels that I put into the ground. Now, we buried the compost into the ground so that way no critters, things like that can get into it, because we definitely don't want them stealing out of the ground. So I made sure to bury it a good 2 to 3 inches deep and covered it with mulch and things like that, so they would have a tough time getting to it. But I'm gonna go ahead and flip you guys around and we're gonna continue our tour. Alright, so here we are. We do have all these tomato plants. They are growing big and healthy. We do have a giant tomato plant down there, and it's doing good too. Now, one addition we have added out here is going to be my mint. The mint is growing beautifully well. I left it in its container because mint does like to take over areas, and I definitely don't want them to take over this garden area. So I'm going to leave these guys in the container. I'm going to let them keep growing. But now I'm just going to let them be outside to grow in this container. As that way it'll help strengthen them up. And they'll get plenty of water. And they'll just get straight sunlight like they need. But we're going to go ahead and keep going here. So as I was saying with our tomato plants, they are showing to be starting to produce some here. Those little flowers, they start out as flowers and then they kind of grow to be tomatoes. Now this one hasn't shown any kind of tomatoes yet, so we're hoping it does, as he is pretty big here. Now a few of our tomato plants, for example, like this one, they did take a damage of tomato worms. Now what I did to take care of the tomato worms was I just took neem oil and a all natural dish soap, mixed it all together in a gallon of water, and sprayed my plants from the top of the leaves to underneath the leaves. And now this plant has no more worms and she's looking great. And as you can see, they were definitely doing some heavy damage. They'll start first eating the inside of the leaves and just leave nothing but the veins showing. They will definitely demolish if you don't take care of them quick. But thankfully, through that damage, this girl is actually producing us a tomato. So thankfully we got the damage taken care of and she is doing beautiful. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to some of our other tomato plants that we have here. And there was only a few that took on really heavy damage. For example, this one did too. As you can see, a lot of the leaves were bit on and ate up. But thankfully that neem oil took care of all that. Now, some of our tomato plants are showing a little bit bigger tomatoes than the others. As you can see here, we got some more growing here. We have a few actually producing tomatoes. Before I show you guys this other tomato, I watched a video on YouTube about growing plants upside down, about what plants you can grow upside down, because I find it interesting how plants get to be grown upside down, like your potatoes and things like that. So I seen somebody grow a tomato plant upside down. So I had this upside down pot and I'm like, why not try it with this pot, see how it goes, and let's have some fun with it. So I just want to first say it was a pain in the butt to get the seedling in the pot because the holes has like these little claws to keep everything in. That was a pain, so I thought I was going to destroy the plant trying to do that. It was just a mess. But I'm going to go ahead and flip you guys around and show you what we kind of created here. So this is going to be the tomato plant that we hung upside down. As you guys can see, it's starting to turn a little bit. I guess that's so it can direct itself towards that sunlight. We did end up using my dad's ladder for this, so we can always move it if he doesn't want me doing it, so it's okay. We did use a old rake. Well, it's not really an old rake, it's just a rake we had in our greenhouse, and I just sat it up there to hold it until I could find something else for the time being. But it works, and the tomato plant is happy. We did add a newspaper and things like that to this, so that way it has a little bit of compost in there. We saved the adding compost for once it gets settled into its container. Once it gets settled after the first few days, I'll then go ahead and add a little bit of compost to it. Now, I debated on this decision for quite some time, and I really got to speed this up because it's starting to sprinkle out here. I debated for quite some time on where exactly I'm going to stick my watermelons and how I'm going to do watermelons. So I do know that on this far end, we are going to do watermelons. So I got a sugar baby watermelon there currently. So far she is liking her ground. She's doing well. In this tray over here, we do have our marigolds. They are doing beautifully, and they're not as big as the other ones, but they're getting there. It's a work in progress. Now here we do have our blackberries. These guys are not producing yet. I think they are just still very young, and they're just not ready to produce for us. Now here is another one of our marigolds. As you guys probably will notice, we have a lot of marigolds on the border of our garden and around our plants to help divert pests from our crops, and it definitely has helped. Because for example, I'm gonna just quickly show you guys here. This was a marigold. I don't know if the transplant just stressed it out so much or what, because it was a good marigold, but now it's just that. But anyways, so I did have a marigold here, but they ate all the leaves off of it and there was nothing left of the marigold. So now we don't even have a marigold here. So that's a good beneficiary that marigolds do bring to the garden, along with some pollinators. Now, as you guys do see here, we are getting ready to, more than likely, we got to wait for the rain to clear up, but more than likely, we are going to be getting ready for cleanup because we got to harvest the celery and do a bit cleaning up on our tomato plants as well. Now, we're going to continue our tour over here to our blueberries. This blueberry doesn't have any. She didn't produce any blueberries this season. This one did produce some, and they're starting to turn their colors. This one really didn't produce any, but just one. She just wanted to produce one out. But this one we did get from our local Ace hardware store, and this one had abundance of blueberries on it. So guys, it's actually starting to rain. It's not super hard yet. We're going to start speeding this tour up. I do apologize. Let's go ahead and finish it up. Here we do have our raspberry, our red raspberry, and our black berry. And then over here we do have our black muscadinian, however you want to say it. And she is producing out some muscadines here, which are going very beautiful. Now, really quick before I totally leave this area, our black raspberry is starting to shoot out raspberries, as you guys can see here. And they produce that flower that you see here. That's that flower, and then once the flower dies off, then it'll shoot out the raspberry, which is definitely pretty cool. So now we're coming over here to our sunflowers really quick before it does start raining really hard. We have several different varieties over here. Starting with the mammoth sunflower, this is going to be our first three that you see here. These two little ones just got transplanted out. So far they're liking the rain. They haven't taken any damage from it, which is amazing. And then we have our solar sunflowers, and I'm just going to stand back some so that way you guys can actually see how tall they are. So this is currently how tall our solar sunflowers are. Now the solar sunflowers, they are a yellow, but they also do have the orange towards the center, which makes them very beautiful. Now with the correct pollinators and everything, you can regerminate these to come back almost every year. You can just leave the seeds in here and they'll fall to the ground and they'll repopulate and germinate once the season's ready for them. Now if you don't have the correct germinators, what'll take place is you'll just come to a dry thing like this and it won't have any seeds. But thankfully we had plenty of pollinators, so these guys are going to produce seeds for us, which will be amazing. Now moving forward, we do have over here some more marigolds, as they are doing beautifully as well. Now our Canaan lily is starting to produce flowers, as you guys can see here, and they have beautiful flowers, and they are getting taller, and they are starting to have a lot more here, which is good as well. Moving on though, we do have some more of our marigolds down here. We do have to do some more weed eating, and then now we're going to go into our grow tent because it's starting to get a little too hard of rain out here, so let's go ahead and jump inside. Alright, so we're going to come over here to our sunflowers, and we've okay guys, now that we're inside and dry and out of that cold rain, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what we have going on here in our grow tent, because things have changed and germinated and we've taken things out, as you guys seen in the beginning. But I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what we currently have growing on here in our grow tent now. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So before we totally do get started here, I have a funny story for you guys on my humidifier. So about this humidifier thing, funny story, really is. So it was a Sunday Sunday afternoonish, because I had just laid my 2-year-old down for a nap. And I came in here to check on everything, make sure humidifier had water, the whole routine of my mid-afternoon stuff. Well, I came in here and I had already noticed water at the bottom of the grow tent already. And I didn't mind it because it wasn't a whole lot, so it's not like it was totally flooding. Well, that morning when I checked it, it was fine, you know, no big deal. But then by the time I came in here, that afternoonish, I came in here and this grow tent had nothing but water in it. We were at 100% humidity. I don't know what went wrong. And then I went to empty the humidifier, get that out to empty it, and next thing I know, I have water spewing out the bottom of our humidifier here, of the container where we fill the water at. So I take it out, get it out. It had water go all over the floor as I take it out. And then I take the bottom piece where the element heats up to make it humidify. Well, I pick it up and it starts pouring water out the bottom too. So I think at this rate our humidifier is fried, and I had water all at the bottom of this grow tent, and I had my 9-year-old, I forget she's 9 now, bring me a bucket and a mop so I could mop it up. I was in here for like 30 minutes mopping up all the water and cleaning up the mess. Like, it was a horrific mess. So now I have to go and get another humidifier because this one is fried because it was flooded in here. And I mean, thankfully it germinated a lot of plants, but keep an eye on your humidity and things like that, because you can eventually flood your grow tent like I did. So lesson learned there. But let's go ahead and jump into these seedlings. Alright, so other than my poor sad humidifier that is fried, we're going to go ahead and jump into these seedlings. Now, as you guys see here, instead of having just this one tray in here, we now have 2 trays. I went ahead and started some more seedlings, and we'll kind of do a whole little seedling starting guide on each different plants and things like that, because we're always doing new seedlings, always producing and germinating, so that way we can get abundance out of our garden. Now, in this tray, you pretty much see it's pretty much empty. Nothing is currently going on here. We even have these that are in here that don't even have soil in them. And pretty much what you guys see here is that these little pots here that didn't germinate out of, there's going to be several different things that could have went wrong. I could have buried the seeds too deep. It could have been that the temperature wasn't right for them. I mean, there's several different things that could have gone wrong with these, because as you can see, some of them didn't germinate, which is a-okay. It's a learning process. Now, as we do come over here to this tray, I'm just going to slightly help this little guy out here because he is just struggling to get out his thing. Just had to move a little dirt there. Now, you want to help your seedlings some. You don't want to help them too much, as that could end up damaging them. Now, with this tray here, we're going to work our way from back here to this way. Now, in this first section here, as you guys can see, we have abundance of Space Master Bud cucumbers. We did get a quick germination rate. Normally these take about 90 days to germinate, and they germinated in 10 days for us due to the high humidity and hot temperatures. Now, it isn't currently high in humidity in here as we do have our tent open. Now, next to it we do have a petite yellow watermelon, which is just like a regular watermelon, but the inside is yellow instead of red. Next to it here we have these two, which are our Table Queen black acorn squash, which we do have a few in our greenhouse currently. This row here is actually going to be all thyme. So we were able to get thyme seeds to germinate in this tray, but for some reason they just weren't germinating in this tray, which is okay. It was a learning process. I must have buried them too deep. And then here we have our large leaf Italian basil. And next to it is our flower thyme, our red bell peppers, and our California green wonder peppers. And those haven't germinated either yet, but hopefully we'll see a germination here soon. Now, this row right here is our rosemary, and then there was a few things before I get to this next row. There's a debate on what lettuces do good in the springtime and summertime here in North Florida in our zone 8. Now, from my understanding, you can grow lettuce all season long, especially during the summertime, especially if you have a cool place to keep the soil cool, like a full shaded area, something like that. And thankfully, we do have that in our yard. So here we do have our iceberg lettuce. And then this is our lavender true. It's a different kind of lavender. And then here is a wildflower. These are pollinators, and pollinators like butterflies, things like that, they love the wildflowers. So we have abundance of these growing. And then here next to these wildflowers, we have our green salad bowl lettuce, which is a really green wavy leaf type lettuce. So I know I talk a lot on humidity and things like that for our seedlings, but I really express that because a lot of plants need humidity to germinate. They like humidity. Now in some areas, especially if you're in a dry area, a humidifier does help benefit you in your germination process, so that way it doesn't take as long, because drier climates means the soils are going drier quicker. And one thing with seeds is they like a wet based soil. So a humidifier does definitely help the humidity in your seedling starting. Now if you're in like our zone 8s and things like that, you already do have a good bit of high humidity. But we like to increase it a little bit just to increase the days of our germination. So the higher your humidity, you're going to see a quicker germination of days. So like for example, our Space Master bud normally takes about 90 days to germinate, compared to where we were able to get it germinated in 10 days, which is amazing. That means we can get quicker, how do I want to say it? We have a quicker way of getting our plants to pop out, germinate, and then before too long we'll have our produce that's going to be available to us for us to serve on our tables and things like that. Now, one thing with your garden, you also want to make sure that you are planting some pollinators to bring into your garden, because things like your squash, your bell peppers, pretty much everything, even down to our watermelons, are going to need pollinators to cross-pollinate, help keep our plants pollinated. And with our wildflower, that's definitely going to help bring that. Even with the marigolds that we have, we're even going to be able to get a lot more pollinators into the garden with those as well. And the more pollinators, the more your plants are going to be happy, and they're going to show you much more appreciation by giving you more fruits, veggies, whatever is producing. So that's why I definitely do encourage growing wildflowers, marigolds, things like that, because those are going to help bring in those pollinators, which are going to help pollinate your plants, which is a big beneficiary. We do use Miracle-Gro in our pot trays here, and I have done some research, and there was a battle between whether Miracle-Gro is organic or if it wasn't. Come to find out, I did learn that Miracle-Gro is organic. They don't put harsh chemicals into their soil. From the research that I've read, even from the company itself, I've even spoken with the company. They seem like nice, caring people. I've heard good and bad reviews on Miracle-Gro. So there's always pros and cons to every company. Everybody has their own opinion of things and things like that. So, but from my research and from what I've seen, they are organic. So we love organic, and we are currently trying to be certified organic as well in our garden. That's a work in progress as well. We do have a few things we did learn, especially on buying seeds from stores and things like that. So we're growing in the organic area, and we're pushing to be a full organic garden. Now, we are already organic through our compost that we do. That's all our home stuff, things like that. So those things we are definitely organic in those matters. Now, the only time we use Miracle-Gro is with our seedlings. That is probably the only time I use the Miracle-Gro potting soil. Everything else is just from out of our own yard as far as soil wise. We, in our big garden area, we do tend to that soil, add things to it like our compost, our banana water, things like that to help bring up the soil life in the garden as our plants are growing through it. Now, the more the mulch you have down, the darker that dirt's going to be as it's composting that mulch into the ground as the days go on. Now, I've heard people say, well, every 6 months you're going to have to re-mulch. Well, yes, that is true, because that mulch is being processed into the ground and being compost, which is a good thing. It's a beneficiary. But some people have the concerns, well, I'll have to go out and buy mulch every 6 months or so. Yes and no. In some places like tree services, things like that, they will actually give you mulch for free. You just have to look around in your community, speak with people in your community, and find those places that will get you that free mulch. We were able to do a form here in our town where we are, and we were able to get free mulch through our city's tree cutters, which is amazing. And we can order loads whenever we really want. Yes, it does take a bit of time to get here, but we know to plan ahead. Okay, we are going to need to mulch the garden again here. We got to plan it 2-3 months ahead of time, get it ordered, so that way it's already here when it's time for us to add more mulch to the garden. But that is going to be pretty much it, guys. We've kind of went over a lot. I know we got our tour cut short from outside. There wasn't too much you didn't miss. Nothing's really changed with anything. Everything's still looking great, blooming, big as ever. I want to just take the time and stop really quick before I let y'all totally go. I appreciate everybody staying tuned, watching this full video. We'll have full descriptions of previous videos, helpful tools and information down below as well. I want to thank you guys for staying tuned, and I want to see those likes. Push that like button, show your support. We love you guys. And I have a question for you guys before I do let you go. Comment down below a seedling, or not a seedling, but a flower or a vegetable or a tomato you would like for me to go more in full detail on how to grow and be a little bit more successful at. And I'll definitely show that video. We can do a whole tour on that. Not a tour, but a whole video on that to help you guys out, because we do want you to be getting something from these videos, whether it's learning something new, getting you inspired to do your own garden, whatever it is. I hope we're helping you guys in some form or fashion. But if you guys aren't subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you are subscribed, like I said, you guys are amazing. You're beautiful. Mwah! We love you. And don't forget to hit that bell so that way you don't miss it on any of our new videos. I'm going to go ahead and head out, guys. I got some house chores to do. Catch y'all next time. Deuces.